The House will come to order. Today, the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Brennan Ertle, Iris Welsh, Lyra Gibson, and Graham Welsh from Watershed School in Boulder, Colorado, guests of Representative Joseph, House District 10.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Schiebel, please call the roll.
Representatives Armagost, Bacon, Barone, Byrd, Basenecker, Bottoms, Bradfield, Bradley, Brooks, Brown, Caldwell, Camacho, Carter, Representative Carter,
Excused.
Clifford, DeGraff, Majority Leader Duran is excused. English, Espinoza, Foray, Froelich, Garcia, Garcia Sander, Gilchrist, Gonzalez, Hamrick, Hartsook, Johnson, Joseph, Representative Joseph, Kelty, Leader, Lindsay, Lindstead, Luck, Lukens, Mabry, Marshall, Martinez, Morrow, McCormick, Pascal. Yes, she is back there. Phillips, Puglisi, Richardson, Ricks, Rutnell, Ryden, Sirota, Smith, Soper, Stewart K, Stewart R, Story, Representative Story, Sukla, Taggart, Tatone, Valdez A, Velasco, Weinberg, Wilford, Winter, Woodrow, Woog, Zokai, and Madam Speaker.
Here. With 63 present, 1 excused, and 1 vacancy, we do have a quorum. Representative Barone.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to start with something a little different today. A couple jokes just to get you started for the day. I know that people say that money talks, but all that my money says is goodbye. Thank you. I got one laugh. The evening news always starts with good evening and then proceeds to tell you why it isn't. Just ask for my media people here. Hey, before you criticize somebody, come on. Walk a mile in their shoes. Because when you criticize them, you're now a mile ahead and you have their shoes. Madam Speaker, I move that the Journal of Wednesday, January 15, 2025 be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
Members, you've heard the motion that the journal be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no.
Next time.
The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Members, as you are aware, we will be convening a joint session for the purpose of hearing a message from tribal representatives from both the Ute Mountain Ute Tribal Council and the Southern Ute Indian Tribe Tribal Council. And pursuant to House Joint Resolution 1003, the committee to escort the tribal representatives is comprised of Representatives Joseph, Representative Stuart Kay, and Representative Sukla. You will be released to escort the tribal representatives later this morning during the joint session. Assistant Majority Leader. Thank you. Assistant Majority Leader Bacon.
I'm sorry. All the suspense. Madam Speaker, I move that we stand in a recess
Until after
Until-
the joint session.
until after the joint session.
Excellent. Members, we will be beginning here in about 10 minutes, so please don't go far. Seeing no objection, the House will stand in recess until after the joint session. Good morning, welcome. I will invite our members and guests, members of the House, members of the Senate. Thank you for visiting us yet again. The joint session will now come to order. Senate Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I move that the morning roll call of the Senate be made the Senate roll call of the joint session.
If there is no objection, the morning roll call of the Senate will be made the Senate roll call for the joint session. Assistant Majority Leader Bacon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I move that the morning roll call of the House be made the House roll call of the joint session.
Seeing no objection, the morning roll call of the House will be made the House roll call for the joint session. Members, a quorum is present. As is customary, it is my great honor and privilege to present the gavel to the President of our Senate with the request that he preside over the joint session.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you for the one or two people that clapped. Thank you. Will the joint committee, composed of Senators Danielson, Henriksen, and Simpson, and Representatives Joseph, Stewart, Kay, and Sukla, please go and get the tribal representatives from the Ute, Mountain Ute Tribal Council and the Southern Ute Indian Tribal Council. Looks like they are here. Chief Sergeant of the House, Rosenthal. Will the escort committee please proceed to the podium? Let's give them a round of applause as they come. It is my pleasure and honor to present to you Chairman Melvin J. Baker from the Southern Ute Indian Tribe Tribal Council and Chairman Manuel Hart from the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe Tribal Council. Chairman Baker will address us first. Let's welcome him again as he comes.
Good morning. Chris. It's a good day out there. I want to just say thank you for giving us again the opportunity to speak before you today to share some of our issues with our tribes. One of our main goals is always to remind the state of Colorado that the two Ute tribes are here, and we work together. We have good working relationships, and I've said it before to other meetings I've gone to where there's some tribes out there in some states that don't get the attention, but we have created a working relationship, and we got to maintain that relationship because together we'll get a lot further in life. I mean, we're all here as leaders to do good things for our constituents, the people that vote for us, and it's not easy. We don't agree all the time, but still, the time we are serving, every one of you as well, is a time to really try to fight and do things and move along. So I want to go ahead and start with mine. Again, Mike, my name is Mike, members of the Colorado House of Representatives and the Colorado Senate, staff, and guests. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. My name is Melvin J. Baker. I am the chairman of the Southern Ute Indian Tribe. When I look around this room, I am reminded of the special relationships we have developed with each of you on both sides of the aisle. With President Coleman, Majority Leader Rodriguez, Majority Chair Roberts, Minority Leader London, Speaker Mikulski, Majority Leader Duran, and Minority Leader Pogisi. Some of you have visited us on the reservation like Ms. Duran, Mr. Rodriguez, Senator Cleve Simpson, and Representative Joseph. And some of you have danced with us at our bear dance, like Senator Danielson took her family down and partake in the bear dance with Southern Ute. Much has changed over the past decades. Today, our tribe has a strong government-to-government relationship with the state of Colorado. As the governor stated last week, our values are not dependent on what happens in Washington, D.C., or anywhere else in this country. State and tribal relations vary significantly across the country and are often strained. Colorado serves as a model for state-tribal relations. This relationship underscores our inherent sovereignty and commitment to collaborative governance. In Colorado, we strive to consult and collaborate for the common good. We must never forget the mountains, the rivers, the plateaus across this breathtaking state bear the mark of the Ute people. Our history is woven into a very soul of this land. The Utes are the oldest continuous inhabitants of what is now the state of Colorado. In our language, we are called Nuchu, which means the people. Unlike other tribes, we do not have a migration story. According to our creation story, we were placed in the Rocky Mountains by the Creator who promised the Utes, even though they are few in number, will be the mightiest and most valiant of heart. The Nuchu are resilient. We are still here fighting and advocating every day for our people and the lands we inhabit. The Ute way of life is rooted in a deep and enduring connection to this land. We have always understood that our well-being is intertwined with the health of the ecosystem. Conservation and respect for our natural resources are fundamental to who we are. The lands of the Southern Ute Indian tribe were at one time much larger. In 1849, we first entered into a treaty with the United States government establishing a boundary between the Ute Nation, which was comprised of 7 bands and the United States, 7 Ute bands. This reservation consisted of the western third of the state, stretching from New Mexico border through Delta, Montrose, and almost to Steamboat Springs. But as mining companies sought to exploit the minerals on our lands, that treaty and successive treaties with the Utes were repeatedly broken. In the 1870s, Felix Brunot, through deception, convinced the Ute lands to once again give up more land to benefit mining companies who wanted access to minerals in the San Juan Mountains. Although the evidence of fraud in the negotiations was evident, Congress confirmed the Brunot Agreement in 1874, leading to the loss of 3.7 million acres of Ute homeland. Once again, the commitments of the United States to the Nuchu were disregarded for the economic benefit of a few. Our current reservation was established by treaty in 1878 in Pagosa Springs, Colorado. Today, the Moachi Caputa bands comprise the Southern Ute Indian tribe near Ignacio, Colorado. The Wiminuchu are now known as the Ute Mountain Utes and are headquartered in Toyac, Colorado. The Tabuich, Grand Yampa, and Uinta bands comprise the Ute Indian tribe located on the Uinta-Ouray Reservation in Fort Duchesne, Utah. And we were all one in the beginning. We have close to 1,500 members, tribal members, and about 1,000 who live on the reservation. Our reservation is 72 miles long and 15 miles wide. It is checkerboarded with tribal trust lands, Indian allotments, tracts previously owned by non-natives, and tracts owned by the tribe or Native American and Bureau of Reclamation and National Forest Land. And that is why we continue to stress, when we talk about sovereignty and we talk about jurisdictions, when it's so checkerboarded, it's hard, for law enforcement to say we can't go on tribal land or they can't do this. So, we're working toward that for a better tomorrow, so we can have that working relationship. As a result, the tribe must navigate jurisdictional and governance complexities. Judicial gaps leave our communities vulnerable to crime and undermine our ability to deliver justice. The missing and murdered Indigenous relatives crisis is a stark reminder of the urgent need for change and improved coordination. We must work together to ensure the safety and well-being of all Native women, men, and children. Despite these complexities, our reservation is our home, and we intend to preserve it and protect our sovereignty. Despite the loss of substantial resources through the violation of our treaty rights, we have utilized those natural resources and economic resources that remain on our lands to provide a future for our people and to benefit the broader community. Through foresight, financial planning, and technical expertise, I am proud to say the Southern Indian Tribe is a leader across Indian country. As a developer of energy resources, real estate, construction, and private equity, our tribe is the largest employer in La Plata County with over 1,000 employees. We are well respected for our financial integrity. Last year, we were honored to have our AAA credit rating reaffirmed, a rating that is higher than the federal government. This reflects the tribe's ability to meet financial commitments and uphold a robust financial profile, even in the face of national and global economic challenges. Our tribe was the first in the nation to receive this rating in 2001, and we have maintained this status since. Our tribe is a unique and a critical partner for the state. Let me be perfectly clear. The tribe makes payments in lieu of taxes. We have longstanding tax compacts with the state and our adjoining counties. We have paid tens of millions of dollars to support community services. We honor our compacts with the state, just like the state should honor its compacts with us and with the promises to us. In addition, businesses located on the reservation provide substantial revenue to state and local governments. But what is unique is that we provide services for residents of Colorado who are not members of our tribe. Our reservation is home to over 10,000 Native and non-Native Colorado residents and families. And when it comes to services, those are often provided by the tribe at no cost to the state. Here are some examples. We provide health care for over 2,100 patients and almost 40,000 patient visits annually through a tribal member health benefit plan. We spend millions providing social services, law enforcement, detention and judicial services for all the Native population within the reservation boundaries. We provide a robust and culturally responsive elementary education for our children, including tribal descendants, through the Montessori Academy. We regulate air quality under the Clean Air Act on the reservation and maintain water quality standards exceeding those of the state and federal government. And I think it goes to show, again, as caretakers of the land, while the state has their standards, our standards surpass the state of Colorado standards in air quality and water quality. So it really shows that we are caretakers and we really do care for the land. We maintain the Pine River Indian Irrigation Project, which brings water to tribal and non-tribal farmers on the reservation. This system is a federal project, and we have absorbed the costs associated with maintenance for the benefit of these farmers and ranchers for decades. There is a beautiful modern hospital in La Plata County because the tribe provided the land for it to be and donated millions of dollars for the medical care it provides. So again, the Southern Indian Tribe donated the land where it's actually called Three Springs. There's a lot of housing there and a hospital that's very, very important. The ones that were in Durango were outdated, and the tribe donated the land for that, as well as millions of dollars. There is a housing crisis. Last week, the governor talked about the need to tackle crisis. We are doing that on the Southern Indian Reservation. Today, the tribe is utilizing its own resources to bring affordable housing to the community so that the necessary employees, including educators, healthcare workers, and first responders, have affordable housing. Recognizing the transformative potential of technology, we partnered with Panda Biotech last June to launch the largest zero-waste hemp processing facility in the Western Hemisphere in northern Texas. Close to home, leveraging federal and state grants and tribal resources, we successfully deployed a broadband fiber project, serving the town of Ignacio and the reservation residents, both tribal and non-tribal. Rural communities across our state, including many within the Southern Ute Indian Tribe, face significant barriers to accessing affordable and reliable high-speed internet. In 2020, as we faced the COVID-19 lockdown, children could not get access to the internet to attend school, and our elders could not get access to telehealth. However, today, the tribe has developed critical infrastructure which provides high-speed internet to residents and businesses in Ignacio and throughout the reservation. And again, when we do these projects, we don't just do them for our Southern Ute Tribe, we include the community, law enforcement, the school districts. We're providing all of that. Unlocking new opportunities in education, healthcare, economic development, and overall quality of life while empowering small businesses, schools, and local offices. This project will directly benefit 1,110 service addresses as of this month. And at this point, project expands this year, we'll anticipate serving more tribal and non-tribal members to address as our teams have installed over 450,000 feet of conduit. So that part of it's been done, and it's now just putting it to work. Our project goal is to serve over 6,000 addresses in the next 3 years. And equally important, we are partnering with adjoining counties, including La Plata County, to ensure that this technology benefits the entire region. We strive to build upon accomplishments as past leaders, working tirelessly to create a brighter future for our Native and local youth. As a leader, I am deeply honored to advocate for policies and practices that prioritize their well-being and create opportunities for their success. In looking at our unique state-tribal relationship this past year, we were honored to welcome the historic American Indian Affairs Interim Committee in their efforts to build better relationships between Native communities and this body. We greatly appreciated their visit to our reservation this past August, as well as their willingness to understand our concerns. And we always open that door. If anybody ever wants to come down and visit us, please come down and see what we've been working on as we move forward for our future generation of our children. As we look forward in this session, I implore you to please remember these principles that served as a foundation of our relationship and are essential to our shared progress. First, mutual recognition and respect of each other's sovereignty. As self-governing entities, we each have our own laws, codes, and processes. As we move forward together in this legislative session and beyond, I encourage you to please remember your neighbors, the Southern Ute Indian Tribe and the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. This recognition of sovereignty necessitates meaningful conversations and a willingness to agree, to disagree, but maintain respect for one another. Second, consultation. I look forward to developing and strengthening our relationship in the years to come. Excuse me. Consultation is a critical component, especially on legislation or policy that may affect one or both parties. This consultation should be an open exchange of information and perspectives, ensuring tribal voices are heard and considered. To be meaningful, this consultation must take place early in the legislative process, not at the last minute or as an afterthought. By working together, we can identify potential impacts of legislation on tribal communities and explore solutions that benefit all parties. Finally, cooperation. Unity in diversity and a commitment to cooperation is key to our shared success. Our social and economic well-being are heavily intertwined. This applies to everything from social programs and education to infrastructure to civic participation, economic growth, and environmental and resource protection. This cooperative spirit, even in the face of disagreement, is the cornerstone of a strong and resilient relationship. It allows us to leverage the diverse strengths and perspectives of our citizens, fostering innovation and tackling complex challenges more effectively. By working together, we can bridge divides, build trust, and create a sense of shared purpose. Ultimately, this cooperation is the fuel that propels us forward, enabling us to progress not just as individuals, but as united Coloradoans. I encourage all members of this body to join me in upholding these principles of mutual recognition, consultation, and cooperation. In this legislative session, we hope to build upon the progress made during last year's session and through the work of the American Indian Affairs Interim Committee. We have 3 priorities. ICWA, or the Indian Child Welfare Act, was enacted by Congress nearly 50 years ago to combat the alarming rate of state court proceedings where Native American children were being removed from their families and placed with non-Indian families. The House report for that law cited studies showing that 25 to 35% of all Indian children had been removed from their families and placed in foster, adoptive, or governmental care. This wholesome separation of Native families deprived Native children of their right to the honor of knowing their culture and further eroded the survival of the tribe's cultures. ICWA regulates proceedings for termination of parental rights, adoptions, and foster care placement involving Native children. It supports tribal control over Native family matters. Since 2002, Colorado has had ICWA, a previous incorporated into the state law. The Colorado General Assembly has amended that law several times. In recent years, state and federal court decisions are both federal and state level have weakened the protection afforded by state and federal law. Since 2023, the tribe has been working with stakeholders around the state to draft legislation that would strengthen ICWA at the state level and would put Colorado on par with other states that have achieved the gold standard in Indian child welfare protection. The bill that has been drafted by tribes and other experts and stakeholders throughout the state will be ready for introduction this session. As I said earlier, the relationship between Colorado and the federally recognized tribes in the state is a model for other states and tribes. Continuing that reputation, Colorado should be at the forefront of state ICWA legislation. We appreciate Majority Leader Duran, Representative Joseph, and Senator Danielson for their sponsorship of this legislation. The second is a general legislative exclusion for the tribe's activities within the reservation boundaries. As you have heard, justification on the reservation is a mix of tribal, federal, and state law. But the general rule is that states do not have jurisdiction over tribes. Not only that, but the rules that apply throughout the state do not work well on the reservation because of their jurisdictional mix. Often state laws are passed without consideration of their effect within the reservations, whether that impact is to imperceptibly regulate the tribe itself or to wade into an area where the tribe, rather than the state, has jurisdiction, such as air quality. Laws that are drafted to apply generally throughout the state without consideration of, let alone mention of tribes, leads to ambiguity and increases the likelihood for jurisdictional disputes. It leads tribes to wonder if the state is purporting to regulate the tribe's activities, which is prohibited by federal law. It leads regulated entities to wonder if the state is perpetrating to replace the tribe as a regulator. For those reasons, on multiple occasions, we find ourselves requesting carve-outs in legislation for reservation land. In recent years, as examples, we have sought to exclusionary language in a bill related to water use in oil and gas production operations, a dredge and fill bill, and a bill regarding energy and carbon management. For example, the tribe is seeking a law establishing a rule of construction that would apply to future Colorado laws and would address how those laws relate to the tribe and to the reservations. We shared the draft language with the intern committee this summer and have been working with the local counties and to ensure that the bill is clear. We appreciate Senator Simpson's sponsorship of this legislation. The third is a law requiring the state to recognize warrants issued by tribal courts. All of us here are trying to keep our community safe. After all, that is a basic exception of us from our constituents. But it is more difficult in Indian country. That is because a defendant can evade the jurisdiction of the tribe simply by leaving the reservation. So if they're convicted by the courts of something that's really bad, all they have to do is leave the reservation and other counties won't touch it, but they are active warrants. This is because a defendant, as I mentioned, this is because a defendant can evade the jurisdiction of the tribe simply by leaving the reservation. For example, a Native American could assault a child. Our tribal court could issue a warrant for that person's arrest. The person could go to another county or off reservation, and the court there would not recognize the tribal court order and would allow the person to go free. So even though there's a warrant, they just let them go. We're trying to make that not happen, that all criminals, if they're caught, they should be arrested. There's a lot of things out there. Again, the cooperative relationship began between the tribe and other governments has paid off. The chief judge in La Plata County has entered a court rule that recognizes tribal warrants. So we have been able to address this issue to a limited extent in our immediate region, but that is just one county. This public safety issue could be easily addressed by legislation requiring state courts to give full faith and credit to an arrest warrant issued by a tribal court and allowing an arresting officer in the state to apprehend the person identified in the warrant. That legislation is now pending Senate Bill 25-009. We thank Senator Roberts, Senator Danielson, and Representative Weinberg for sponsoring this bill to require recognition of tribal court orders, and we hope it will receive the General Assembly's full support. Finally, focusing on the subject of keeping our community safe, I encourage everyone here to support the Child Sexual Abuse Accountability Amendment sponsored by Senators Danielson, Jeanette, and Majority Leader Duran. The proposed amendment holds profound significance for all Coloradoans, but is particularly important for indigenous communities, including for the two federally recognized Indian tribes, the Southern Ute Indian Tribe and the Ute Mountain Ute tribes. Sexual violence and the associated trauma have plagued indigenous youth for generations, with the rates of sexual abuse of children being roughly 3 to 4 times higher in Native communities than the population at large. Representatives of this crisis are the sexual atrocities committed against Native children who were forced to attend residential boarding schools in an effort by the federal government to eradicate Native culture. As the federal government has acknowledged, Native children in these schools were subject to rampant physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. A recent study of 22 or more than 500 residential boarding schools operated or financed by the federal government documented more than 1,000 cases of sexual abuse committed against Native children by their boarding school caretakers, with the majority of those cases being in the 1950s and 60s. The wounds experienced by the child's sexual abuse are lifelong. Children subject to sexual abuse experience higher rates of suicide, depression, alcoholism, addiction, and domestic violence. Tribal courts could not prosecute non-Indian perpetrators, and the federal government didn't prosecute them. This legislation provides those who have suffered abuse as children the opportunity to confront their abusers and those who facilitated them in state court. We know that those who abuse children do not stop at one child. They do it over and over again. Colorado should not be a safe haven for child abusers and those who support them. Child abuse is not a partisan issue. Please pass this Child Sexual Abuse Accountability Amendment so the trauma that Native children have suffered can come to an end. The Southern Indian Tribe and the state of Colorado share a distinct and enduring relationship. The vital relationship must be cherished and upheld. While disagreements may arise, Our commitment to working together, as formalized through compacts and memoranda of agreements, ensures we always find a path forward. Let us remain true to the promises we have made to one another, securing a prosperous and secure future for all. The strength of our partnership enables us to address even the most challenges issues with mutual responsibility. In honoring the legacy of our ancestors, past leaders, and past legislators, we pledge to continue to work together and build a bright tomorrow for all. Thank you for your time today. Like I said, I've always said, we all have a job to work together. Let's put the bickering aside. We are all representatives of our constituents, so we have to work on their behalf, and working together, it shows a great working relationship. And like I had mentioned, I talk about our relationship when I go to other tribes, that we have that opportunity. But now that we have that opportunity, let's work together. Let's not waste too much time debating. Maybe we need to set goals and priorities and really focus on that timeline, so that working together we can accomplish those goals. Again, thank you all for allowing me to speak here today. Have a great rest of your day. Toyak.
How about another round of applause for Chairman Baker? We from Ute Mountain Ute Tribe support his presentation today to the General Assembly and his request to work in a partnership to move forward with legislation. We from Ute Mountain Ute Tribe really like to thank everybody here, and the prayer that I said this morning for each and every one of us, and looking how we're going to be able to move forward. My address today is going to talk about relationship and how we can move forward together. And some of the initiatives that Chairman Baker brought also with some of our concerns from the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. But he did mention checkerboard, and I didn't know if very many of you knew what checkerboard was. That came from the allotment era, where non-native could live within the exterior boundaries of a reservation. For Ute Mountain Ute Tribe, it's all trust land, all of it in the state of Colorado and New Mexico. We do have allotments over in Utah. So with that, good morning to all of you on this beautiful January winter day in 2025 here in Denver, Colorado. I am Manuel Hart, Chairman of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. At this time, I would also like to recognize our Ute Mountain Ute Tribal Council. Councilman Alston Turtle, Councilman Darwin Whiteman, please stand. Councilman Jacket, and Councilman Malcolm Lehigh. Councilman Lehigh is our representative for the Utah side. We don't have a representative yet for the state of New Mexico. First and foremost, I want to thank our Creator for everything we have in our lives today and the many blessings that He's blessed with our families, our health, our homes, and the food upon our table. I'd like to thank Governor Polis, Lieutenant Governor Primavera, Southern Ute Indian Tribe, members of the legislatures both in the Colorado State Senate and Colorado State House of Representatives, and the justices of Colorado courts, the Attorney General, and the Colorado State Secretaries and all the members of the Cabinet. But most of all, I'd like to thank the citizens of this great state of Colorado. Today is the third time we, as the two Ute tribes, the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and the Southern Ute Indian Tribe, come before this state governing body through a joint address to the state of Colorado. Today is recognized as a historical event between the three sovereign governments, the state of Colorado and the two Ute tribes, Ute Mountain Ute and Southern Ute Indian Tribe. I would like to start off by saying I am speaking from my heart to all of you that are listening in these chambers and from afar and near. I am requesting also to each of you to listen and to take in these words that both the chairmen are addressing today and put yourself into this same address as if you were doing the presentation and feeling that empathy in where we're going. I'm saying this respectfully. What I'm trying to do is to build a stronger relationship between the tribal governments and with the state of Colorado. I want to paint a picture that describes our history so that we may feel the empathy of our Ute people and many other native tribes across this country. That we, as each of the tribal nations across this country, feel the challenges that we face with the federal government and states in a true, genuine government-to-government sovereign relationship. As the elected chairman, including our tribal council, we are here to share with you our challenges from the Ute Mountain Ute tribe. And we'd like to start off, just as every government, housing. Today, the Ute Mountain Ute tribe has a 300 waiting list to try to get tribal members into a housing unit. The cost of a stick-built house is huge. Cost of material, labor, they'll last the longest, but based on budgets and grants, we're limited in how we can provide housing for our tribal members. And with it being on tribal lands, on trust land, there has to be a lease, a residential lease that starts at that point. But what we lack most is infrastructure. Most of our infrastructure as it is across this country are dilapidated, and they need to be re-put in. And in the last administration, or the current administration right now, which is going out, they did pass legislation for infrastructure bill. But that is just the tip of the iceberg in how we're going to move forward. Healthcare. Ute Mountain Ute tribe's healthcare system is under the federal government, under IHS. Some tribes could 638 and take it on, but it also is limited with what the budget that it has under 638 contract. It has to be supplemented with tribal dollars. And sometimes these tribes, when they go through a 638, do not make the services better. It's a very hard, challenging time, especially with money and the process of getting it. And today we face many health disparities. For Ute Mountain Ute tribe, we have a high health disparity in diabetes. Currently, I have over 50 tribal members on dialysis, and it's challenging for them. Just recently, I heard that DaVita, which is the dialysis unit in Cortez, is being sued for mismanagement of funds that come into that. So the main company of that is going to have to figure how to keep the dialysis going for all the dialysis patients in Cortez. We've often requested to the IHS to develop a dialysis on the reservation, but with what facility we have currently, we are not able to. Last year, during the presentation here to the address, I talked about Medicaid, Colorado Medicaid. I always wanted to start a program in Toyac where they would do home visits for physicians to go and check on the feet of the dialysis patients, a foot care management plan. I presented this to IHS. They did not have enough staff to go out to do home visits. So that's where it starts, is with the tribal member and what happens with them. Some of these tribal members have home dialysis units. If they do not keep these units clean, then the second part that they'll move into is amputation. And once they get it amputated in some of their limbs, then their depression rolls in. Then they feel like they're not able to live in this life. So they start to go into depression, and eventually they pass away. Education. I'd like to thank the state of Colorado for supporting us with the KCA, Guerrero Community Academy. It's the first of its kind. It's the first one that we built on the reservation, state of Colorado. We originally started with K through second grade and about 18 students. Today, this year, we added the fifth grade, so it's now K through fifth grade, and we're right around 60 students. And we support this program because we helped create our own curriculum. The boarding school era really took away who we were as Native people, our languages, the assimilation in what happened. And we wanted to bring it back through this KCA to help our tribal members to bring back what is very important to us, our Ute language, our Ute culture, and our Ute traditions. We would be honored to have any one of you to come down and look at this partnership that we had in the development of this academy school. It is only the beginning of it. Right now, it is not in a permanent building. We're looking for capital to build a permanent school. We as the council passed a resolution for an education quadrant. We want to include K through 12th grade. We want to include vocational school, technical school, and we also want to see if there will be a junior college or college that would help us create a junior college. All these areas are key to education. Our elders once said, go out into the world, educate yourself. Once you learn that, come back and help this tribe to thrive into the future. Because we don't know from a standpoint of on the reservation how things are moving forward. Which goes to my next topic of broadband. Today, broadband is moving at such a high pace that we need to be able to partner. Yes, we get funding for grants, but for these rural areas, especially in the western slope side, it's hard sometimes to get some of these companies to come in, especially when it comes across tribal reservations. They don't have the authority to just come in and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and put this broadband in. They have to work with the tribes as a sovereign nation to look at the broadband. Technology is moving at such a high pace that we need to be able to work together and make things happen. Right there at the Four Corners Monument, the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe is looking at trying to tie in the state of Colorado to Denver, to Albuquerque, to Phoenix, to Salt Lake, and it all ties in that very rural area in the Four Corners region. Economic development. We're always looking toward economic development to develop revenue that might be coming into the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. These revenues help supplement the government in all of its programs across the board, and it also brings in revenue for future investments. As Chairman Baker mentioned, all the investments that they do, we too also want to have that same equity and opportunity to move forward in all areas. Protecting our natural resource. As you see, these mountains behind us, or behind me and in front of you, it lacks snow. It lacks the precipitation that we look forward to every year. As I mentioned in my prayer, these are the head gates to the Colorado River Basin. We ask our Creator to give us more moisture. We as the people in Colorado look toward tourism to help out in that, but also looking at what the Creator gave us as this natural resource, as it flows all the way down through its tributaries, and it serves 7 states, 2 countries, and 30 tribes. So our natural resources are very key in how we move forward. The ecosystem, the air we breathe, and how we move forward in a positive way. And meaningful legislation and the positive support for our future is what we also need to look at as we're addressing the assembly today. Today, our story has to be put on the table. Whether you agree or disagree, it's something that we need to talk about and discuss. Coming from the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and our tribal reservation in southwest Colorado, and the challenges that we face in these government-to-government relationships, I want to say a little story that I did. Last week I was on travel, and I went to an event in another state, and there was a lot of important people there, and we should have known one another because we're all legislators from a state and from tribal governments. There must have been over 200 people there that night. I went to this event, and I felt like I was out of place and not welcomed because I knew no one there other than the governor and the lieutenant governor. I was a stranger in the Capitol building that I come to all the time and where I work with the governor and lieutenant governor and legislatures. I only had 2 people come up to me and my wife that night, and that was a person who worked in the Health and Human Services Department and a staffer from the state government. Do we actually know one another, or do we just greet each other at times like this? How many of you have even been to the tribal reservation? We always come here as the tribe's governing body to Denver. There are many events throughout the year for everyone. 4th of July, holidays. We have 4 seasons here in the state of Colorado, which we could take that opportunity to visit one another. It's not always a challenge from the Front Range to the Western Slope, because we on the Western Slope are also citizens of the state of Colorado. So we really need to realize that at a time we lack a relationship of knowing one another. So how are we to understand one another and look at the needs of our respective governments? Chairman Baker really put things out there where things are looking good and opportunities, things that they've had success in. Can we make these successes more for all of us? It goes back to our history and what happened since. In the past, there was good and bad. With all the challenges and the successes we have had over time, and measuring how far we have come, actually from the past all the way up to today. Yes, there was a dark history, but let's look at how we can make it better. These Rocky Mountains were once the lands of the Ute people. We were the original stewards of all these mountains, long before the pioneers came and before the statehood of Colorado and other states around us. The Ute people are the oldest living resident in the state of Colorado today. The Utes have occupied these lands since time immemorial, and we cherish these lands because they give us life. They sustain us, they protect us, and today is no different than thousands of years ago, as it is for each and every one of us in these chambers and all the members and citizens of the state of Colorado. You people today still hunt on these lands. We still drink and utilize the water as a sacred resource from our Creator. We still look and find and gather our medicinal plants within these mountains. These mountains also bring food forth that we can harvest. We remain as connected to these lands and its resources as we've ever been. The Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and Sun Ute Indian Tribe has been able to take its ties to the land and use of these resources in the development of economic opportunities to sustain the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and to promote self-governance. Our Creator put us here for a purpose in our creation story, telling us we were the original stewards of these mountains. Our destination for our Ute people and our purpose, including our past and today's current challenges in who we are. And we are the proud Ute people within the state of Colorado. We are the Nuchu. Change has come upon us as a Ute people, and we were forced into assimilation, and our children were forced into boarding schools. Overall, we have lost a lot over time. Today, we share these lands that we once roamed freely in the state called Colorado. We share these mountains with many Coloradans and with many visitors and tourists that come to look at these majestic mountains and take in the landscape throughout the 4 seasons. And they also bring revenue to our state. We as tribes were removed from our Aboriginal lands, and that was not by our choice, but through the federal legislation, a stroke of a pen of a sitting U.S. president, or the United States Department of Interior Secretary, or even a state governor. There is a dark history for the U.S. government and within some states in their relationship with many tribal nations across the United States, which brings us to this point here today. And this is the question that some of you might be thinking. So how do we move forward? Today, Ute Mountain Ute Tribe comes before this body, and we're looking toward the future that we call tomorrow, so that we may envision a partnership together and address today's challenges and tomorrow's needs for all of our children and grandchildren that are not here yet. I'm thinking most of us here in these chambers ran for public office with the purpose to succeed from what we each faced growing up, the personal struggles that we each face every day, or seeing our families or our communities face the lack of services or programs, the obstacles and challenges across the board in every area that we each talk about with our legislative body every year, especially during budgets and during the legislative bills being proposed. We, as governments, are challenged with passing legislation and operating budgets for that fiscal year. Every year, the need grows from the current operating services for employees and staff, our individual capital outlay projects, and we must also find and generate revenue at the same time. We each have an ever-growing population and citizens and their needs of economic development and passing service programs to benefit them. Their needs continue to exceed our current annual budgets every year. We were elected by the people to serve the people that elected us into these positions by our respective governments. That responsibility that we carry comes with a tremendous commitment to our state and the 2 Ute tribal nations. Our Ute Mountain Ute tribal issues are not affiliated to any certain party, but we would request bipartisan support on all current and future bills. We want to be a part of the solution. We can only do that through a partnership and a commitment from the state and the tribes to start a new and stronger, prosperous relationship for the future. These are the issues and recommendations from the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. Colorado Commission of Indian Affairs takes on the lead role on the government-to-government meetings we have, and this is by Colorado statutes for the commission. The Lieutenant Governor chairs 4 quarterly meetings with the 2 Ute tribes, the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and the Southern Ute Indian Tribe. The 2 Ute tribes each have 2 representatives sitting as voting members on the Colorado Commission of Indian Affairs. We do have most of the Colorado State departments joining us at these 4 quarterly meetings and giving us a report and some opportunities for some state dollar programs, if available. My question is, how can we make Colorado Commission of Indian Affairs stronger in our government relationship, in moving things forward for the 2 Ute tribes with support from the state of Colorado and the governor's office? Developing a caucus day for the 2 Ute tribes and legislatures is something I'd like to propose. Would this take legislation or an amendment to the statutes? Can we sit down and discuss this further? Our next topic, water. Water is very important to the state of Colorado, but also for the 2 Ute tribes and both our futures. Uses here in the Upper Basin. As we know, there are 5 uses for water, and all of them are very important to each and every one of us, state of Colorado and for the 2 Ute tribes. We are here and still currently in a 20-year drought here in the Colorado River Basin. We also have the 2026 interim guidelines coming up soon, in less than a year, on how the water will be managed in the future for our Colorado River Basin. These mountains is where the head gates are for the Colorado River. The Colorado River Compact was in 2022. We didn't become citizens as Native Americans until 2024. Women, their act to vote was even before us, and we became citizens in 2024. We had the right to vote. So how has history impacted us? So that's why we bring these things forward. We do have a project in southwest Colorado called Animas La Plata near Durango, Colorado. It is based on a water treaty settlement of 1868 with the United States government for both of the Ute tribes, Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and the Southern Ute Indian Tribe. It does also include the state of Colorado. We as the 2 Ute tribes have a storage right in that reservoir called Lake Nighthorse in Durango. When it was authorized in 2000, there was an amendment to the settlement. The delivery system that was an original design and legislation for the Ute Water Treaty Settlement of 1868 was taken out. That was the ag water. So our water project lost the ag portion of the water, which reduced the cost of the full project significantly by about $250 million. The total project was around $750 million. Both Ute tribes each have 16,000 acre-feet of water in the reservoir. Municipal and industrial use is all we have. The ag water was taken out. The total storage is about 54,000 acre-feet in that reservoir. In total, together, we as the 2 Ute tribes own about 32,000 acre-feet of water through a water treaty. That is not being used in that reservoir as of today, or compensated for non-use. Yet others downriver are compensated for non-use, especially in the lower basin. They've asked farmers to not utilize their water and to get compensated for it. So our tribal water has been sitting there for over 1 decade, over 10 years, with no delivery system. There's no future water funding for a future delivery system, although we've continued to ask the Department of Interior and the Bureau of Reclamation. If there was a request for funding, we would have to open up legislation again. And it would open up more doors. The project cost today, if we did put in a delivery system, would be around $400 to $500 million from the original cost of $250 million. So the cost of it is exceedingly. Currently, we have been having these discussions about our concerns, at our water meetings with the UCRC, the Upper Colorado River Committee. There was a recommendation from the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe to the states of Colorado and state of New Mexico. The proposal was to release our Ute Mountain Ute tribal water rights from the reservoir back into the Animas River, from Lake Nighthorse, and go through the process downstream, down the river into the San Juan River. Then we would request a pumping plant at the cost of $75 million to pump our water back up to the Farm and Ranch enterprise or for our future development. We would pump it back up out of the San Juan River at the very southwest corner of Colorado as it comes back onto the Ute Mountain Ute Tribal Reservation. But based on the current Colorado State Water Compact, there cannot be a release from the reservoir back into the Animas and let the water flow down into the San Juan River. Because once it crosses the Colorado state line into New Mexico, then the state of New Mexico can claim it under the current compact. We also asked about shepherding it, the water through the tributaries of the Animas and down into the San Juan River. If that were to happen, that would take an amendment to the compact or an MOA, Memorandum of Agreement between the two states of Colorado and New Mexico, including the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. So right now, this past December, we had a meeting and an historical signing. And thank you to Representative Sukla for bringing this up in our discussion this morning. We signed a historical document down in Las Vegas at the Colorado River Conference. And we talked a little bit about forbearance and first use. Once the water is released out of this reservoir for the uses of both tribes, O&M cost comes in, and that is at the cost of $600,000 per year. Also, forbearance, as I mentioned, payments for use of the water also came into play. So that just recently happened in the documents we signed with the Bureau of Reclamation, Commissioner Camille Touton, and that happened in December. So we are at a point now, how do we address our access to our inherent water right that is passed by U.S. legislation authorized by Congress through an 1868 water treaty for the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and the Southern Ute Indian Tribe for our future uses of this water in the state of Colorado and for the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe in New Mexico. As Chairman mentioned, our next topic, consultation. One of the areas that the tribe believes needs attention in moving forward is to continue to ensure an ongoing consultation between the state and the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and the Southern Ute Indian Tribe. Recently, we lacked consultation between the state and the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe has led to some unfortunate differences that are causing disagreement between the states and the two Ute tribes. Today, we request that the state of Colorado has or is there current legislation or consultation policy with the two Ute tribes within the state of Colorado. From what I'm hearing, the state of Colorado does not have one, but departments do. We need an overall one that we do have the consultation policy in place. And a good example, what happened during the introduction of the wolf back into the state of Colorado. We as the two Ute tribes, as the two tribal governments, were never consulted with. In the beginning, and with the final outcome with the passing of Proposition 114 by the Colorado voters. Now that the Department of Natural Resource Department is working with the two Ute tribes on individual management plans to help develop a tribal management plan for the gray wolf on the tribal properties in Gunnison County for Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and for both tribes in the Bruno area. These wolves that come from British Columbia are bigger, more aggressive, and we really need to try to address this. Our next topic is sports betting. This area continues to be an area of disagreement between the state and the tribe. If the state consulted with the 2 Ute tribes and involved them with the legislation, these disagreements could have been resolved years ago. This comes from the Colorado Department of Game and CDOG, failing to recognize and consult with the 2 Ute tribes before it was put to the Coloradoans for the vote. We are a separate tribal government, as Chairman Baker mentioned. We are sovereign, and we have a right to govern our own casinos. But our casinos are also under stricter guidelines for tribal gaming on casinos across this country. IGRA, Indian Gaming Regulatory Act. We also have a gaming compact agreement with the state of Colorado on gaming within the state of Colorado for both the Ute Mountain Ute tribe and Southern Ute Indian tribe. So I'd like to try to figure out how we can move forward. I know that litigation has been proposed. We, as the 2 Ute tribes, are citizens of Colorado, and we are citizens of our own tribal respective tribes. State of the state address, which the governor has the right to recognize certain things. The 2 Ute tribes are also a part of the state. We respectfully ask to be recognized in the governor's address, and that is up to the governor, so that the people of Colorado, as we do this address today, may know where we are and where we stand on bills, on where we're moving forward. We could become a stronger partner with the state toward opportunities for a better future. If we are to continue to build a stronger relationship, then we develop a state. Can we develop a state tribal caucus day with legislatures sometime in the spring or early summer? In conclusion, we're trying to build a stronger relationship with our Colorado state legislatures and develop a place and time in the year to sit down and talk to our representatives on a government-to-government basis before the process of introductions of legislative bills, not at the 11th hour. We want to thank everyone for this opportunity to come before this body today, and I will leave this with you. Change is inevitable, and we want to move forward for a better future for all Coloradoans, and that includes the 2 Ute tribes, the Ute Mountain Ute tribe and the Southern Ute Indian tribe. Change comes at the speed of trust. Where your heart takes us all is where it lands. So thank you, and may our Creator continue to bless us all, and may the Creator bless the state of Colorado. Thank you. Do'er.
Thank you, Chairman Baker and Chairman Hart. Will the committee please escort the tribal representatives from the chamber? Let's give them a round of applause as they head out. House Assistant Majority Leader Bacon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the message from the tribal representatives be printed in the House Journal.
There is no objection. The tribal representative's message be printed in the House Journal. Senate Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the joint session be dissolved.
Being no objection, the joint session is dissolved.
Hello, members. The House has a little bit of business to tend to. Members, the House will come back to order. Announcements. I believe we have a couple. Representative Velasco.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I would like just to share with all of you that we have our SMART Act hearing for Energy and Environment Committee, and it's going to happen at 11:20 at Old Supreme Court. So please join us for our joint SMART Act hearing for Energy and Environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Minority Leader Puglisi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wanted to announce that Healthier Colorado, Healthy Air and Water Colorado Action has their reception tonight. It is always a great time, and invite you all to join us from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Sudler Building. Right across the street is in walking distance. Hope to see you all tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Assistant Minority Leader Winter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Tonight at the Stock Show, I think you guys should all go attend and cheer on the little ones as they do the mutton busting at 6 o'clock, followed by the pro rodeo at 7. Please come out and see it. Thank you.
Bah. Mutton bustin'. I'm trying to be part of the fun. Representative McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just make sure you wear your helmet because it's really dangerous. I have an envelope here for the the junior livestock sale a week from tomorrow. There's 2 bills in here and they're very lonely. So look in your wallet, see what you got. Come see me or Assistant Minority Leader Winter and bring us some funds for these kids. Thank you very much. So we can outdo the Senate and help lots of kids. Thank you.
Whoop, whoop. Representative Byrd.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And once again, the Joint Budget Committee will be making an appearance, this time with the House Energy and Environment Committee for our SMART Act hearing. We'll see you there.
Excellent. Representative English.
Good morning, colleagues. So I have a couple of announcements. One is the Denver MLK Parade on a Monday. If you would like to attend and walk with the legislators, you can meet at 9:30 will be the opening ceremony, and at 10:30 we will meet at the I Have a Dream statue. And then we have the MLK Junior African American Heritage Rodeo, which will be Monday as well at 6 p.m. And if anybody would like tickets, please see me. Thank you.
Thank you. Assistant Majority Leader Bacon.
Thank you. I have one announcement. If you have not signed up for your legislative yearbook pictures, I know you all ready for this pose. Please see Stephen in the back. We have the sign-up sheets. The photos begin on Tuesday.
Excellent. Seeing no further announcements, AML Bacon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar until Friday, January 17th, 2025.
Seeing no objection, the balance of the calendar will be laid over until tomorrow, Friday, January 17th. Assistant Majority Leader Bacon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the House stand in recess until later today.
Seeing no objection, the House will stand in recess until later today.